Welcome back to Sunday Vibes, one and all. This is, of course, the show where we answer your burning questions while sat in a pub drinking non-alcoholic drinks. Except for Van Straten, who is only drinking gin today.
It's been a disaster.
School day, mate.
It's not a good start. But there we are. Christopher Howell is also with Van Straten. The first question comes from Khalifa Basiri, who says, what do you think about Barcelona moving to the Premier League? Of course, this could apparently happen if they are confirmed independent.
I think we should ignore all the logistics, the feasibility of it, and just discuss how they would fare in the Premier League, because my instinct, wow, it's loud outside, we're going to carry on, consummate pros, is that they'd win it. What do you boys think?
I also think they would win it.
Yeah.
Although I think it would be really, really tough, especially this year. I think that their calibre of coach isn't actually... I think they maybe have 6th or 7th best coach in the Premier League, which I think speaks highly of the quality of managerial talent we have in England at the moment. But equally, I think... Jesus Christ. I think that some of the players they've got would be fantastic in the league, and I think Lionel Messi would still score 30 to 40 goals. And when you have a striker who scores 30 to 40 goals, you tend to win the league. That's what we've seen anyway over the last few years.
Valverde seems like the chink in their armour right now, doesn't he? Because people aren't sure how he's going to fare at a top club. But he's made a great start. I think it's 7 wins out of 7 in La Liga. He's a pragmatist. He's reverted to 4-4-2 on occasion, 4-4-1-1, with Messi playing either up front or in that number 10 role. And it's working really well. And they look solid. PK and Umtiti, defensive stalwarts. Yeah. And he's getting the best out of the likes of Denis Suarez, and even Paulinho looks decent in that system. He's offered them an aerial threat this season, hasn't he? So they seem quite well-rounded at the moment, which I believe is what a lot of the players are saying in the press. They seem a bit more compact. I think Sergio Busquets said that.
Yeah, my issue with Valverde is I think the only game so far which they've won, which you wouldn't have expected them perhaps to win, is the Juventus game. Yeah. Everything else is a game they should have won. And it would be a whole new way of operating for Barcelona if they were to be in a league like the Premier League. Because at the moment, I don't think that they have to do that much tactical preparation week to week. I think there are relatively few games in the league where they turn up and have to have a specific game plan, because most of the time they can rely on the fact that they've got this unbelievable talent advantage on the rest of the division. Very good point. Whereas in the Premier League, I do, at the very least with the top kind of 5 or 6 sides, they would have to adapt their game plan based on who they were facing. True. It's really difficult. It's really different when you're facing Man City the way it is when you're facing Spurs or Liverpool. Like, these are different sorts of games, and so I think that it would be a lot more taxing for a manager. So from that point of view, I think Valverde would have a tougher time. From this, in La Liga, they're pretty much going to steamroll the rest of the league, and then it's going to be how they do in games like Atleti, in El Clasico, things like that.
The one thing I would say as well, Barcelona with Premier League money become an even bigger prospect. Yeah. At the moment, obviously, they don't have the spending power that some of the Premier League clubs have because of that TV rights deal. If you put that into Barcelona, I dread to think some of the talent they could attract.
La Liga is generating about a third of the income as the Premier League at the moment. Yeah, it's a very good point. And you look at what Manchester City did to them 2 years ago when Pep went back to the new camp with City, and they were very competitive until they went down to 10 men. Yeah. I think City then rolled them over 3-1 at home, didn't they? So they would struggle against managers of that calibre, perhaps, who can outthink their opponents. And, as you say, look, if City have bought in this season, Barcelona don't have that strength and depth, do they? Like, the fact they've got Bernardo Silva on the bench, Denis Suarez isn't the equivalent of Bernardo Silva, is he? So there's definitely a talent deficit. But I wonder, who do you think they go for with that Premier League money? Straight away, Dybala?
Yeah, probably a Paulo Dybala or an Antoine Griezmann. I think they quite fancy Antoine Griezmann, Barcelona, but they can't afford him at current rate.
There are just things that would be huge moves for Barcelona that a Premier League club can do without too much trouble. So, for instance, Liverpool, who are not the richest Premier League club by any stretch, they were able to pick up Oxlade-Chamberlain essentially as a squad player this summer for 40 million quid. Barcelona can't really spend 40 million quid on a squad player. When they spend that, it's somebody who has to play. Whereas imagine this summer they could have got Alexis Sanchez back and had him on the bench. Yeah, that would have been.
I think they almost definitely would have competed more heavily with Liverpool for the likes of Naby Keita, who is probably going to cost Liverpool 60 odd million once the deal's completed. So Premier League money would be a different proposition. But what do you guys at home think? Where would Barcelona finish in the Premier League? Let us know in the comments down there. Our next question comes from Mbappe Henri, who says, is Jurgen Klopp the most overrated manager in Europe?
Harsh.
Oof. Pato, why don't you lead off on this one? Because there's going to be some opinions.
Well, he could be overrated and still be very, very good. That's perfectly possible.
Okay.
I think that it's well documented that he's having trouble making a solid defence at Liverpool. And that's a personnel issue, and I know that you're going to say, well, he should have resolved that. You know, he's had transfer windows to deal with it.
Not all his fault, though, that. I wouldn't lay it all at his feet.
True, but then you also can't necessarily lay the successes of the transfer policy at his feet either.
Very good point.
Like, you have to give credit to the people who are involved in those decisions. I just think he's a great coach. I think that there are these stats going around at the moment showing his points after X number of games versus Benitez versus Rodgers. I think he's vastly superior to both of those managers, even though I'm a big defender of Rodgers and Benitez. Rodgers is very good for a sort of small, bad club like Celtic.
Yeah, you made a really good point about the points yesterday as well, didn't you? What was that point about the points you made yesterday?
Look, Brendan Rodgers did it. Brendan Rodgers did an amazing thing to make that squad competitive, but he also had a superstar kind of carrying the side. On the other hand, he has to get credit for the way he developed Sturridge and Sterling, of course. But Klopp has been rebuilding the team. He's completely changed style. Rodgers as well have moved the club away from the defensive style they had under Benitez into a far more attacking kind of lineup they have now. And yeah, basically Arsenal in the late 90s got 78 points and won the league. I think 98 in the 97-98 season. You could do that back then. In 2013-14, Arsenal got 79 points and they finished fourth. Like, the number of points you get in a season, it doesn't really track from year to year. So I think that Klopp's doing a great job. He's got them back into the Champions League in the most competitive race for the Champions League we've ever seen. And he's got Naby Keita coming next year. So if he gets a centre-back next summer and a left-back and Naby Keita, I really think that Liverpool might well win the title in 2019.
Ooh, brave shout, but you heard it here first from PVS.
I don't care if I'm wrong.
Now, what I would say is Liverpool at current seem to have a clear recruitment plan. I think the capture of Naby Keita signifies that. The fact they were pursuing Van Dijk so much and to the tune of €75 million, they weren't balking at that fee, were they?
Yeah.
Which suggests they know where their weaknesses lie. And I think Jurgen Klopp is smart enough to know that Dejan Lovren and Matip aren't a league-winning partnership in the centre of that defence. And Robertson and Moreno aren't Champions League level left backs. He probably knows that, but they're fine squad players. Now, the stats you were alluding to are after 75 games, he doesn't have as high a points total as Benitez and as Brendan Rodgers.
Yes.
But, obviously, it's a different sort of Liverpool side now, isn't it? He's finessed that philosophy that Pato intimated at under Brendan Rodgers. He's really taken that to the next level, and I think he's closer to getting it right than he is to falling off a cliff.
It's a good point.
However, Jamie Carragher did make a very legitimate point on Monday Night Football, didn't he? That even with different personnel, would Liverpool still concede those silly goals from set pieces that we saw at the start of the season against the likes of Watford and so on and so forth? Because I think actually Liverpool have conceded, since Klopp was instated, the most set pieces in the Premier League, which can't continue, can it? They're cheap goals to give away, and that's why they struggle against big physical sides like a Pulis side, like a Burnley, because they've been blowing top teams out of the water, haven't they? Barring that result against City this season, obviously where they had 10 men.
And they were right in that game.
Yeah, they were.
Before
Mane got sent off. So, I mean, it's hard to tell. Rodgers was often chastised for not having a plan B. His plan A was great, but he didn't have a plan B. Does Klopp have that as well? When it's not going well against a smaller side, does he know how to sort of muddy that midfield and play sort of the downright dirty stuff? I'm not so sure, because if he does take those points, then they're flying, aren't they?
Yeah, I think that personally, Jurgen Klopp is nowhere near the most overrated manager in Europe. I agree, I think he's done a pretty good job, although there are very clear issues, and I'm sure Liverpool fans at home will be bemoaning the fact they've got one win in their last 7, which is nowhere near good enough for a team that's supposed to be challenging for a title at the start of the season. Although equally, you would say he's yet to have the team laid out so far this season that I'm sure he would have wanted. We haven't seen Salah, Mane, Coutinho and Firmino on the pitch at the same time, which is going to be a really exciting prospect for Liverpool. But then to counteract that, his work in the transfer market's been completely unacceptable. In my opinion, the whole back five needs to be changed. I don't think any of those back five are good enough to win a Premier League title. I don't think the goalkeeper, I actually think Klein's all right, but he's injured at the moment, so I've not included him. I don't think he's good enough to win a Premier League title, though.
You were saying yesterday on Fan Hour, weren't you, that they did go after Van Dijk, to their credit, a very good centre back. They were willing to pay the fee. But yeah, where were the other pursuits? Like, I think you said Jonathan Tah, didn't you, from Leverkusen, might not be a bad signing. Benny Hendricks maybe from there. Vendel as well, all from Leverkusen. Yeah. Great young defensive talents, but who do you think they should sign there?
You've got to be chasing more targets than just one. If Van Dijk doesn't want to join you, then you've got to have backup options. Especially it felt like this summer they had none.
And Van Dijk as well, it's not like you drop Van Dijk in and every problem is solved. Like Van Dijk's good, he's got tons of talent, but like he's not a perfect centre-back. Like Southampton conceded loads of silly goals with him in the back line last season. He's still going to need to be, you know, kind of finessed into the team a little bit.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I definitely think there's problems behind the scenes, on the pitch at the moment, but Jurgen Klopp's a fantastic manager, and I have complete faith that he'll turn it around this season, and they'll probably be a top 4 team with the amount of attacking talent they've had. Whether or not they're going to win a league remains to be seen, and I don't see them competing particularly deep in the Champions League because of that squad depth we've talked about previously.
Okay, but then if Klopp isn't the most overrated manager in Europe, who is? That's obviously the next question. You know,
it's a really
it's
tough
difficult
one.
Because actually a lot of the managers around at the moment, they're pretty good. Like most top teams have a good manager.
We've never had this calibre of manager in the Premier League before, have we?
We haven't.
The amount of...
In the Premier League in particular. Across Europe, I'd have a big stab at Unai Emery. Not his biggest fan at all.
Yeah, Peter Bosz. I think Leonardo Jardim as well is not perfect.
Then again, I think Unai Emery is just an easy target. Obviously, what he achieved at Sevilla went above and beyond.
Maybe he reached his ceiling at Sevilla.
Above and beyond his remit. But what he does is, Unai Emery sets out to play really nice possession-based football, and then when it's not working, panics in January and plays really like pragmatic, ugly football.
Yeah.
So now that he's got those players at his disposal, we might see the brand of football he really wants to play. So I think we need to give him another year at least. But
fingers crossed, yeah.
But I don't know. It's a tough question, isn't it?
Let's throw it out to the people at home. Who do you think is the most overrated manager in Europe? Is it Jurgen Klopp? What do you think and why? Let us know down there. Our next question is a slightly more personal one. It comes from Mike Tor, who says, what is your favourite piece of content you've made on Football Daily or Euro Football Daily? Christopher Hamill, you do a lot of editing.
Oh, you bugger.
And clicking and typing.
That's what I do.
What are you going to go for?
Well, as the lovely viewers know, we put out 14 to 15 bits of content a week, so we go at it hammer and tong on a daily basis, which often means you don't get to sort of nurture what you're working on. But with the vlog that I produced when we went to Russia, which was a lot of fun, got to put a bit of TLC into that. Hopefully you guys noticed the difference and you enjoyed it. That was certainly the most fun thing I think we've done since being at Football Daily.
Yeah, definitely.
And it came about so randomly. I mean, not only because Pato wasn't there, but because we also got to do a bit of bungee jumping, which was
made it even sweeter, Pato not being there.
Well, it was just like the two of you went to a country full of terrible people and made it slightly worse. So yeah, it was good work on your part.
The Munich vlog, scout reports I think are always very good, scripted by this fine man a lot of the time. Obviously McCubbin chips in, Zach does scripts that have to be heavily redacted and edited. What about you guys?
Pato?
I thought that our live stream on transfer deadline day was good actually. Like,
yeah, it's a good shout.
Like often the stuff that's most fun for us is where we just get to kind of like talk about football like the way that we'd want to. And on that day I thought that it was just really smooth. It went really well, and that's what I enjoy the most, kind of speaking extemporaneously about football.
Oh my god, get the dictionaries out. What does that mean? What does that word mean?
Well, it means like impromptu speaking in this context. But I don't know, yeah, I think scout reports are quite fun. We had a video ages ago which was like 5 revolutionary tactics which changed football, I think that was a pretty good one. But yeah, like Chris says, we don't always get the time to devote to them because we're just trying to like keep stuff coming out for you guys and trying to react to what's happening in the world of football. So yeah, I think mostly the stuff where we get to sit around and talk, actually chat about football.
We're not shoehorning stats in, and obviously we try and give the guys, don't we, a good balance of subjective opinion and stats, but it can get a little bit mind-numbing sometimes, can't it? Just falling into that sort of systematic way of scripting things and of talking through things. So I think that's why fan hour is actually pretty good. I like interacting with these guys, and this sort of immediacy of it is nice.
Yeah, I'll go for maybe. I really enjoyed the shoot of Mr. and Mrs. when we did Mr. and Mrs. with the two Jamies. I actually thought that they were hilarious, and in the room we were genuinely laughing. And I can't think of many times that we've been genuinely laughing. Quite a lot of time we're like, Van Straten, that was a good joke. When really I hate him.
Because it's the fourth time we've heard a joke, because we've done 4 takes.
Yeah. I mean, so that was pretty fun. I agree with these guys though. I like shooting Sunday Vibes a lot because it's more discussion based rather than when we're going through and like ploughing through stats and giving
even if there is
statistical backup.
Scottish men with despicable beards walking through the set, or the dustbin trucks going by, and it makes sounds like we're in Jurassic Park 4 or whatever. But
yeah, exactly. So that's my favourite anyway. But nice little question to ask, I suppose, isn't it? Cheers. Our final question comes from Chelsea Bleed Blue, and he or she wants to know, who is the best footballer at Football Daily? A bit of a controversial topic, but a relevant one, Hamster.
Because of the name, all I'm thinking of is Ben Stiller in Dodgeball, and he's like, nobody makes me bleed my own blood. then he goes away on the, no, just me? All right,
just
cool.
you, mate.
I think the good people will actually find out for themselves, won't they?
Oh!
In a couple of weeks' time, because, well, not so much, just hinting, an upcoming project we have in the works. Not hammered out all the details yet, have we?
Not exactly.
So don't want to give you the whole pie, just a slice. You might see FC in action.
Oh, don't tempt me. Quickly though,
quash the bone up.
You're asking because you think it's you.
Joe's a pretty decent player.
Yeah,
I mean, his mentality isn't great sometimes. Sees
weak.
red.
A lot of our best players though.
And you have weak lungs, you have asthma.
I do have asthma.
Not good.
Yeah, you peak far too soon.
A lot of our best players though do work behind the scenes at Football Daily, don't they?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
sales teams.
But I mean, that's probably not interesting for the guys, is it?
It's not.
'Cause they don't know, who we're talking about, so it's all pie in the sky. So if you were to pick one player to compare yourself to in the current footballing landscape, who would it be?
Midfielder, likes to beat a man, but not the best final product. Ooh, that's a toughie. Come back to me. Pato, you got anybody?
I mean, I have quite a short temper. Likes playing midfield.
True.
Two-footed though, that's good, both in tackling and in passing. So
all of the categories.
Arturo Vidal, I'll go for.
I like that.
A very violent man.
Arturo Vidal.
I've injured basically everybody, I think.
Are you going to get all the patterns shaved in your head as well?
Oh yeah, definitely, big time.
Yeah, I like that. I'll hold you to that. I'd go for a Lee Catamol.
Yeah.
Or a Robbie Savage,
You're doing the Catamol.
Just someone with a limited skill set, but decent pass on me, timely tackle to make up for Joe's, wild lunges. Just neat and tidy with next to no goal threat.
Yeah, I'll go for Naby Keita without the energy. Without the energy.
I think that's the perfect time to end it.
So that's all the time we've got for today. Thanks very much for your questions. If you want to be involved next week, use the hashtag SundayVibes in the comments with your question below. Keep an eye out for a supposed FDFC. Lads, what's happening over elsewhere?
Ooh, check out 90 plus 1 facts. We've got 90 plus 1 facts about Leo Messi coming up. We've got FIFA, Ronaldo, Barcelona, Real Madrid. Everything you could possibly want over there.
All that good. We have Stat Wars The Champions, the third quarterfinal, live now over on EFD. Go and check it out, guys. It's between Adam McCullough and Lawrence McKenna.
Ooh la la. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Sayonara.